They pushed until something inside you snapped. They mistook your silence for surrender, your patience for weakness, your composure for submission. They kept testing limits, unaware that every betrayal, every humiliation, every dismissal was fueling a transformation they would later regret. Pain did not destroy you, it sharpened you. Rejection did not break you, it carved you into something unrecognizable. The man who once sought peace now walks with purpose. The boy they mocked for his softness now carries fire behind his eyes. You did not ask to become hardened, but the world left you no choice. When you finally rose, it was not for revenge, it was for reclamation. You are no longer fighting for approval. You are fighting for identity. Every wound became a lesson, every setback a quiet laboratory for strength. You learned that survival is not about endurance. It is about adaptation. They wanted you broken because your spirit unsettled their comfort. They wanted to contain you because your potential exposed their complacency. They underestimated what happens when a good man runs out of tolerance. Transformation begins the moment kindness meets betrayal. You stopped trying to explain your worth and began to demonstrate it. You realized that people rarely learn through mercy, they learn through consequence. That is when your silence became dangerous, because now it carried weight, not weakness. They wanted to humiliate you into submission, but instead, they introduced you to discipline. When the noise faded and no one stood beside you, you discovered how to build without validation. Isolation became your forge. You turned solitude into strategy, suffering into strength, anger into accuracy. They thought they were erasing you, but they were erasing the version of you that needed them. You became self-sufficient. You learned that the absence of help is the birthplace of self-reliance. They wanted to see you crawl. Instead, they will see you climb, silent and certain, until the view itself mocks their doubt. Transformation through pain is irreversible. Once you've rebuilt yourself from nothing, comfort loses its appeal. You are no longer driven by emotion. You are driven by purpose. The boy who once sought connection now commands boundaries. The man they shaped through cruelty became immune to their manipulation. They can no longer reach you because you've outgrown the version of yourself that needed approval. That is what frightens them most, the realization that they no longer control your narrative. You have reclaimed authorship. Every action now writes a sentence they will have to read in silence. Their cruelty was education. Every betrayal trained you in perception. Every loss refined your patience. You learned to see motives behind smiles, weakness behind power, fear behind confidence. Their manipulation built your discernment. The man who once reacted now observes. You do not chase closure. You create it through success. You do not seek revenge. You let time deliver it through your progress. You became surgical with your energy. Nothing is wasted on noise, gossip, or defense. That emotional precision is what makes you terrifying. They cannot understand how the same person who once pleaded for peace now operates in complete detachment. What they never realized is that pain is the most effective teacher. The lessons it gives cannot be learned through comfort. It burns away illusion. It strips ego. It exposes truth. Pain taught you that the world does not reward innocence. It rewards awareness. It taught you that not everyone who claps for you wants you to win. It taught you that being misunderstood is a privilege because it means you've outgrown explanation. Every hardship built a layer of armor not to hide behind but to fight with. You no longer seek validation from others. You seek alignment within yourself. That is the beginning of true dominance. Now they watch you move differently. You speak less, but everything you say lands heavier. You appear colder, but it's not detachment, it's precision. You no longer react to provocation because you see through it. You've stopped fighting for reputation and started building presence. Your calm is unsettling to them because it signals control. They do not fear what they understand. They fear what they cannot predict. You've become unreadable, and that is your greatest weapon. When they realize that their attempts to define you only made you limitless, they begin to see their reflection in your silence. Your growth exposed their stagnation. Your evolution magnified their insecurity. They cannot celebrate you because your rise reminds them of their decay. You were once the mirror they looked down on. Now you are the mirror they avoid. They tried to destroy your self-belief because they could not develop their own. Their attack was projection. Their hate was confession. They needed you small to feel significant, but your endurance rewrote that equation. You did not become arrogant. You became inevitable. You are not their enemy. You are their consequence. Power built from pain carries a purity no privilege can replicate. You did not inherit strength. You earned it through isolation, through sleepless nights, through relentless consistency. You stopped being motivated by proving people wrong and started being fueled by the quiet obsession of self-mastery. You owe no one explanations for your evolution. You owe no apologies for your detachment. You did not become emotionless. You became selective with emotion. You no longer chase peace. You embody it. The man who controls himself controls everything. The boy they mock now holds composure they could never emulate. There is something ancient within every man that civilization has tried to silence. Beneath the routines, the digital masks, and the soft language of modern comfort lives a creature made for survival. It carries the memory of those who hunted, who fought, who built empires with bare hands. You inherited more than a name from your ancestors. You inherited their instinct. But most never hear it because society has buried that voice beneath convenience. The ancestral beast does not speak in words. It speaks through hunger, through resistance, through the call to rise when everything in you aches to stay down. That is why the modern man feels restless. He has the biology of a conqueror trapped in a world that rewards submission. You feel it when you are pushed too far. That moment when your patience fractures and something primal stirs. It is the echo of men who refused to die quietly. They faced storms, hunger, and enemies without shields of technology or systems of safety. They moved through life guided by instinct, not instruction. That same force still lives in your blood. It waits for permission, and most never grant it. They silence it with routine, sedate it with entertainment, numb it with comfort. But when you stop running from discomfort, that buried energy returns. It awakens like fire under your skin. It demands you face life head on rather than negotiate with fear. The ancestral beast within you does not understand laziness. It was born in hardship and raised in struggle. It has no concept of easy. Every ancestor who survived long enough to pass on their bloodline did so by adapting, fighting, enduring. They didn't wait for inspiration. They acted. When you hesitate, you betray that lineage. Every time you waste potential, you dishonor those who carved paths through wilderness so you could exist. The beast inside is not violent by nature. It is disciplined by necessity. It teaches that survival belongs to those who act with precision, not those who seek comfort. When you awaken it, you begin to understand why average never satisfies. Your blood remembers greatness, even if your mind has forgotten. Modern comfort has sterilized the soul. You have heating when it's cold, food when you're bored, validation when you feel uncertain. But the beast within does not thrive in ease. It needs adversity to breathe. That is why too much comfort breeds anxiety, because your biology was never designed for stillness. You were designed for challenge, for motion, for conquest. The dissatisfaction men feel today is not spiritual emptiness, it is ancestral starvation. You are starving the part of yourself that was built to struggle, to hunt, to win. The only cure for that emptiness is to return to effort, to remind your nervous system what it means to earn, not just receive. You cannot awaken the beast through anger. It awakens through purpose. Anger burns out quickly. Purpose endures. The beast inside needs direction. If you unleash it without aim, it will destroy you. But when you channel it toward creation, it becomes unstoppable. You must give it a mission larger than comfort or ego. That mission becomes the altar where every sacrifice is justified. Your ancestors fought not just to survive, but to protect, to build, to pass on. The beast within understands duty. It is primal yet noble. When guided by discipline, it becomes an architect, not a destroyer. Your greatest potential lies in mastering that balance. Fear is the natural enemy of the ancestral self. The modern world thrives on it. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss. But the beast inside you does not recognize fear the way your mind does. It feels it and moves anyway. It understands that fear is the signal to act, not retreat. You inherited that instinct, yet you've been taught to suppress it. The civilized man negotiates with fear. The primal man transforms it into momentum. Every time you choose courage over hesitation, you feed the beast. Every time you avoid discomfort, you starve it. You were not built to flee. You were built to face. The ancestral energy within you does not crave destruction. It craves mastery. It wants to test limits, to conquer fatigue, to dominate chaos through control. That is why deep work feels spiritual. That is why pushing your limits in training feels sacred. You are aligning with something ancient, something that understands evolution through resistance. The beast does not seek chaos. It seeks order born from challenge. It wants you to refine, to adapt, to lead. It wants you to remember that evolution was never passive. The moment you stop testing yourself, your instincts turn against you. They decay into restlessness and regret. Legacy is the language of the beast. It does not live for the present alone. It moves with awareness of generations before and after. You are the continuation of thousands who refuse to quit. You carry their victories in your DNA, but the beast is not satisfied with inheritance. It demands contribution. You must leave something behind that proves the bloodline did not end in complacency. That is why greatness feels like duty, not ambition. You were never meant to merely exist. You were meant to extend the legacy that made your existence possible. Every act of discipline honors that chain of survival. To awaken what is primal is not to lose control. It is to regain it. You do not become savage. You become centered. The ancestral force within you is not chaos. It is clarity. It knows exactly what matters. It does not waste energy on gossip, envy, or distraction. It is focused entirely on progress and protection. When you reconnect with it, you become grounded. You stop chasing meaning in noise and begin to find it in movement, in mastery, in purpose. The beast within does not speak softly, but its silence is wisdom. It teaches you that fulfillment is found not in comfort, but in conquest over self.